Hi, I'm their dad. I make videos about tech, DIY, and sometimes gaming, and boy is AMD in trouble.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So I just got done watching the Ultimate Countdown video that Nvidia put on announcing their new series of GPUs, the RTX 30 series. Now for months, rumors have been flying around the space about the pricing, the specs, and all different things, and a lot of those were just completely wrong. The biggest takeaway that I took from it was that the 3080 is going to have better performance than the 2080 Ti and almost half the price. That's right, the 3080 is going to be released at $699, $700 for their flagship GPU. Now sure, there is a 3090, but that's going to be comparable more to an RTX Titan than it is an RTX 2080 Ti. And I tell you, with everything that you saw, the performance specs, the pricing, for the fact that the 3070 is going to have better performance than the 2080 Ti at only $500. By the way, I've got a 2070 Super back here that's going to be up for sale pretty quickly, so if anybody wants to jump on it, let me know. Now, these are the kind of advancements that we've seen in previous generations when you go from one generation to the next in GPUs, but with the Turing generation, you saw a huge price increase up to $1,200 for a 2080 Ti. Most 2080 Ti's sell for a lot more than that anyway. Now, the fact is that Nvidia was able to put AMD in a very, very tough position. When you consider the fact that their 5700 XT, which is their top tier GPU right now, it sells for between $400 to $600, and it's not going to have anywhere near the performance that the new versions of the RTX cards are. We're expecting AMD to come out with their RDNA 2 series of graphics later on next month, and a lot of the rumors surrounding RDNA 2 or Big Navi were that it was going to be able to compete with the 2080 Ti at a much lower price point. Well, if that price point is anything more than $300, well, it's not going to be worth it considering that you can get a 3080 for only $699. Now, I'm expecting for those units to sell out really fast. You're probably going to see a lot of AIB cards go for well over $700, but the fact that they're releasing it at $699 for top tier performance is unbelievable. Let's take a look at some of the clips from the presentation.
Adding ray tracing to games dramatically increases the computation workload. Using shaders to do ray traversal and object intersection reduces the frame rate. We added the RT core, which reduces shader workload by 60%. RT core offloads the shaders by doing the ray triangle and ray bounding box intersection calculations. Using the same methodology as Microsoft Xbox, the RT core is effectively a 34 teraflop shader, and Turing has an equivalent of 45 teraflops while ray tracing. Even with RT Core, the amount of time consumed is significant. So RT Core and shaders have to run concurrently. Even then, 20 milliseconds is only 50 frames per second, and still a step back in performance relative to previous generations. This is where the Tensor Core and DLSS come in. Rendering to a lower resolution, then using AI and super fast Tensor Core to effectively double frame rate. Now you can get ray tracing, get high resolution, and high frame rate at the same time. That's the magic of the three processors of RTX.
Now, Jensen surprised me from the beginning when he didn't start the presentation with the 3090, but it makes sense after watching the whole thing. The 3090 is going to be a replacement for Titan cards, which Titan cards weren't really designed for everyday gamers. They were designed more for compute type devices, for AI scheduling, for production houses. They weren't really designed for, just you and me playing video games. But the fact is that the 3080 is going to have so much more performance than the 2080 Ti, and almost half the price has to put AMD. They have to be worried. Right now, Lisa Su is probably locked in her office, throwing things against the wall, telling everybody to get away because now they're going to have to rethink their entire strategy. If RDNA 2 was going to release, which a lot of the rumors were saying around $700 to $800 and have 2080 Ti level performance, well, now that's not going to be good enough. AMD was able to come into the CPU market, undercut Intel, provide better performance at a lower price point, and that's how they were able to get their market share. From everything that I've seen on RDNA 2, that was going to be their plan with this generation of GPUs. Well, the fact is that they're going to have to shoot really, really low to make that happen. I've also seen reports that AMD really wasn't concerned with competing and undercutting Nvidia because there were only 2 players in the space. So they just wanted to produce a good product that, was comparable in price. And if you compare the 5700 XT to a 2060 Super, well, that is a better card, as long as you get stable drivers. The fact is that RDNA 2 is now going to have to be so far advanced what the original RDNA cards were that I don't know that AMD is going to be able to do it. It looks like Nvidia is going to be continuing the lead in all of the GPU processing power moving forward. The thing that I was actually most excited about during the presentation wasn't the performance that you were going to get with the RTX cards, but for me personally, it was just the broadcast studio. The fact that you'll be able to simulate a green screen without having to pay for an XSplit plugin, and it'll do it with any RTX card, is a huge benefit to me. Because if you've ever seen any of my streams, which by the way, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Twitch, YouTube, and on Facebook, a link will be in the description below. But if you've ever checked out my streams, you'll see that I've gone from having this green screen background to having just a regular cutout for my webcam. Now, the reason is because with this small space that I'm in, having to put up and take down a green screen is a bit excessive. Now, with them having that in the broadcast studio, I'm really excited, and I'm going to be back to streaming a lot more here soon. Now, the pricing on these cards is just absolutely incredible. The 3070, I keep wanting to say 2070, the 3070 is going to come in at $499, have better than 2080 Ti performance, just flat out. And when you consider the fact that the ray tracing performance, and it'll have DLSS 2.0 along with HDMI 2.0, DisplayPort 1.4, all these different things at only $499 is just going to blow away the competition. The 70 series cards have always been really popular, from the 970 to the 1070 Ti to the 2070 Super, and I expect that to continue with these 30 series cards. Let me know what you guys think is going to be the best selling RTX 30 series card that's going to happen over the next couple of years in the comments down below. Now, a lot of the early rumors said they were going to be on TSMC's 7nm process, and then they kind of switched to Samsung's 8nm process, but the presentation today did verify that they will be on Samsung's 8nm process. Now, what that means between 8nm and 7nm doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot, but when you consider the fact that TSMC's 7nm process is what AMD is currently using, and Apple has also been using those processes from TSMC and will be continuing to use their 5nm process, I think that had a lot to do with them going with Samsung, which to me says that they are expecting to produce a lot of these cards, that they would rather go with Samsung's not as mature process and a little bit bigger process, which the size doesn't really matter, but their 8nm process I don't think is as mature as TSMC's 7nm process. But the fact is that they won't have to be competing with AMD, Apple, and rumor is it that Intel's going to start using TSMC for some of their production fabs. They will be able to produce as many of these cards as they need, because from what I understand, Samsung doesn't have that many partners in the computing space. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. If you think that they're not going to be able to make very many of these cards, let me know. Now, going into this presentation, I thought we knew all that we would know about the RTX 30 series cards. I thought Nvidia kind of had a leaky ship that they historically don't have. But after seeing the presentation and seeing how many of the rumors were false, I mean, you were talking about $2,000 cards. You were seeing 7nm process. You were seeing less compute units, less shaders. There was all kinds of different rumors that were circulating the industry. But the fact that they're going to be able to release these cards at $500 for the 3070 and $700 for the 3080. Now, yeah, the $1,500 for the 3090 does seem high when you compare it to a 2080 Ti, but when you compare it to the Titan RTX, which was a $2,000 card, that one's even cheaper too. So they are able to provide you with faster technology, better technology at a lower price. This is not looking good for AMD. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the Nvidia presentation. If you did, make sure you toss it a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this from me in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the bell notifications on. Alright guys, I'll see you on the other side.